So in this video today, I'm going to try and glue a split up in part of a tea table. It's quite a bad split, so I'll do what I normally do and use epoxy resin. I've mixed this with a little bit of a filler. You only get one attempt at doing this, so I was a bit hesitant about doing it on video, but I thought we'd give it a shot, see what happens. There's a few little splits, so do them all at the same time, not just the big one. I know some people think that splits the character, but I've run a shop and I've sold furniture for a long time, and there's no way that a customer will think that a split is character. I think that when somebody calls it character, it's because they haven't got the skills to repair it properly, or they're too lazy to actually want to do it properly. Because obviously a piece of furniture was never made with a split in it, so it can't be character, can it? Anyway, I'm putting quite a lot of epoxy resin into the crack, because I want to get it probably coming out the other side. I've already put some newspaper on top of the clamps so it doesn't stick to the clamps, which is always worth doing. When you first start doing things like this, it's the sort of thing that you overlook, and when you realise your clamps are actually covered in epoxy resin, which is horrible because this glue is very strong. So the next thing I'm going to do is just push it in with my fingers. I know this sounds obvious, but I don't expect everybody does it. But it does force the glue further into the crack. And then sometimes I'll turn it upside down and just check it's gone through, but this crack's so big, I think that it's got no problem, and there's a lot of glue that's gone through there, so. Right, I think that's probably enough. We don't have to carry on forever. There's quite a lot of glue on the top surface, which I don't really want to leave it there, because when it dries like rock. So I'll get a little scraper and just, well, I use a palette knife actually. Just get it off. Get the worst of it away. Try not to catch the veneer on the edge of the crack when you're doing this. So that's the worst of it. This has got to be refinished in the end anyway, so because it's been refinished, I don't have to be overly sensitive. If it wasn't being refinished, I'd be a little bit more careful. Yeah. Right, so that's pretty clean. Well, it's clean enough, let's put it that way. I'm sure if you're doing it at home, you can spend a bit longer. I'm going to use some wood to put on the edges of the table. I do this just to prevent the table being bruised. So, and I got the clamps, before I started I set the clamps up so they were nearly right. It's just a bit frustrating when you're in the middle of gluing and you have to do everything. Quite often, it's nice to have a second pair of hands to do this, to be honest. That seems to be doing okay. So that's my pieces of wood to protect the edging of the table, because I'm going to be putting quite a lot of pressure on this table. That needs to go along a bit because it's sort of just off the flat. I don't want it on the curve. Right, so we've got those there. Now we'll put the next clamps on. This will be then sort of the test really, because now we'll see how easily it pulls together. And you'll probably be surprised. I mean, And obviously I haven't done this before because you could tell there was no glue on it, so it's complete, you know, no dummy run. But sometimes these jobs go really well, and other times they don't. So let's see. And that, to me, looks like it's closing up, and I haven't actually put much pressure on yet. Here's something crunching on it. I think that's just the dirt on my wood, because I use those pieces of wood for stripping to get the finish off the ground. And look at that. That split looks pretty good, and I mean, there's not much pressure on that, if you can see. I don't know if that's in the picture. Hopefully it is. So there we go. We've got that split, which looked like it wouldn't close up. When I was taught to restore, I was actually taught that in a split like that to put mahogany into it. But I think that putting a mahogany fillet never works, because especially if you put it in with an animal glue, the animal glue dries with time and then they come out again. So much the best way is actually to get the original table back together. And that's done that really well. The only thing is I've got a bit of a ridge. So I have to try and sort that out. It shouldn't be too difficult. I'll try not to take too long doing this. One thing I do like to do is clear the glue off. It's nice to get the glue off now, not when it's hard and it goes all over the clamps and over your hands. It's horrible. Epoxy resin's a great glue, but it's very difficult to get off. So we just need to try and get that a bit level, I think. There's two ways. We can hit it with a hammer. So let's have a little go at doing that first, because this is the easiest way. So make sure you've got a clean flat piece of wood, and on the raised side just hit it a couple of times, and that has actually gone down quite a lot. So you don't want to do it too much. Oops, probably gone down a bit too much now. Say that is nearly perfect now. Not quite right there, to be honest, but I might just put a batter underneath it just to pull it in. Playing a couple of pieces of wood smooth. Right, if you've got smooth wood like those edges, then you're not going to damage it. And I'm going to get a clamp under there. So this is the thing. If you watch this sort of work being done in real time, then you can see some of the problems that occur. And I'm wanting to work quite quickly. Not that this glue's got a particularly quick drying time. I just gloves are great, surgeon's gloves, but when you use these clamps, they tend to get caught into the clamp, and then the clamp gets stuck, which is really frustrating. So here we go. I'm going to put this one underneath, and this one on top, so they're sort of on top of each other. And I'm just going to do this just to make sure the tabletop's flat. And now I can see that's much better. So we tighten up the clamps a little bit more now. I might put another one in there. And that's it really. So there was no big creaking, nothing gave way, it just went together really easily. And you can now see I'm just tightening them up a bit more, and there's a little bit of glue coming out. So that's good. I'll turn it over after I turn the video off. I'll just clean up underneath. Anyway, I think that's gone really well, and I think when that's refinished, you won't see this split at all, which is great. Thank you for watching.